Is Japan's legendary auto industry about to lose its ground? Since March 2025, when auto tariffs slammed down, Japan's 120-year-old car industry has been hit with a strange dilemma. Honda just dropped a huge recall, over 259,000 vehicles. The reason? A mind-blowing issue found by NHTSA. Meanwhile, Nissan is losing billions, facing a €4 billion loss and trimming jobs to survive. The fierce competition from China and skyrocketing trade costs are making the road ahead even more messy. So, what does all this mean for the future of Japanese vehicles? Stick around. Hit the like and subscribe button for updates, and let's get into the details. Honda is recalling over 259,000 vehicles across the US. And the reason is more alarming than you might think. A brake pedal defect that could literally mess with your ability to stop. This isn't a minor recall. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, a critical flaw in the brake pedal pivot pin means the pedal can shift out of position, increasing the risk of a crash. The recall affects a wide range of vehicles: 2023 to 2025 Honda Pilots, 2021 to 2025 Acura TLX, and 2023 to 2025 Acura MDX models. That's both mainstream and luxury vehicles impacted. The problem? The pivot pin wasn't properly secured during assembly, which can result in unintended brake application, an odd brake feel, or even brake lights staying on when you're not touching the pedal. Honda admitted it began investigating the issue in April 2024, after a single complaint. By June 5th, there were 3 warranty claims tied to the defect. Fortunately, no injuries yet. But even one brake failure can lead to disaster, so the company is not taking any chances. The root cause? A US-based supplier that did not properly secure the pin during production. That supplier's facility is now shut down, and Honda has shifted assembly to Mexico, where a camera system now confirms the pin is staked correctly. Dealer alerts went out on June 13th, while owner letters are expected by July 28th. Honda says only about 1% of recalled vehicles likely have the defect, but that still translates to thousands of potentially unsafe cars on the road. The company will inspect and replace the brake pedal assembly if necessary, free of charge. The recall might sound routine, but brakes are your lifeline on the road. If you drive one of these models, do not wait. Head to the NHTSA recall site or Honda's lookup tool to check your VIN. This issue may seem small, but it could be the difference between a normal drive and a dangerous situation. While Honda scrambles to fix a critical safety flaw, another Japanese automaker, Nissan, is facing a crisis of a different kind. A full-blown financial and operational shakeup. The Japanese automaker has just unveiled a sweeping recovery plan that includes cutting 20,000 jobs worldwide by March 2028. This is not just a trim, it is a restructuring earthquake. After reporting a devastating 671 billion yen net loss, 4 billion euros, for the fiscal year ending March, compared to a 2.6 billion euro profit the year before, Nissan is clearly on the ropes. Blame is falling squarely on weak sales in China and other global markets, surging restructuring costs, and one very specific external factor, US tariffs. Nissan admits former President Trump's auto tariffs directly impacted results, squeezing an already pressured bottom line. As part of the recovery, Nissan plans to reduce its auto plants from 17 to 10, with closures confirmed in Japan. The company is also shelving plans to build a battery plant and slashing 500 billion yen, around $3.4 billion, in operational costs. CEO Ivan Espinosa, who took the reins earlier this year, says the company is starting from scratch. We have a mountain to climb. And he is not sugarcoating it. Nissan is hoping to bounce back by focusing production, cutting fat, and leaning into global alliances like those with Renault in Europe and Dongfeng in China. But with no profit forecast for 2026, Nissan knows the road ahead is uphill and steep. Coming off Nissan's massive layoffs and restructuring, it is clear the pain is not isolated. All 3 of Japan's auto giants are reeling from the 1-2 punch of US tariffs and cutthroat EV competition from China. Toyota, Honda, and Nissan have all slashed their profit forecasts over the past month, citing brutal market conditions in their 2 most important regions. In the US, Donald Trump's import tariffs have disrupted supply chains and driven up costs, with Nissan especially vulnerable due to its heavy production presence in Mexico, a target of the steepest tariffs. Meanwhile, in China, Domestic automakers are flooding the market with ultra-affordable, high-tech EVs, blindsiding Japanese competitors and forcing them into a damaging price war. Nissan's financial freefall, including an 88% drop in operating profit and a $4.5 billion net loss, led to a leadership shakeup, a failed merger with Honda, and a credit downgrade to junk. Honda cut its full-year forecast by 59%, while Toyota expects a 21% profit decline. To survive, these companies have delayed EV plant plans, shifted factories, and are scrambling to reinvent strategies. But with sales collapsing in China and U.S. trade uncertainty clouding the path ahead, the road to recovery is full of sharp turns. Following slashed profit forecasts and intensifying market competition, Japanese car makers now find themselves stuck in limbo as Japan-U.S. tariff negotiations stall with no resolution in sight. Hopes for relief were dashed after this week's summit ended without an agreement, deepening uncertainty for an already battered industry. With U.S. tariffs on cars and parts already active, the financial pressure is building fast. Toyota estimates a 180 billion yen hit to profits in just 2 months. Subaru, which exports over 40% of its U.S. cars from Japan, could take a 360 billion yen loss by the end of fiscal 2025. And that's just the beginning. The Japanese government is scrambling to manage the fallout, setting up 1,000 tariff help desks across the country and fielding thousands of consultations, mostly about cash flow. But time is not on their side. Automakers are burning through tariff-free inventory, and soon they will have no choice but to raise U.S. prices, risking a drop in demand. Economists warn that continued tariffs could spark a broader economic slowdown, hitting not only automakers but also their suppliers. Still, Tokyo is digging in, aiming for a comprehensive tariff revision, even if it means waiting out a long and costly negotiation. So, what's next for Japanese automakers? With no breakthrough on tariffs at the recent G7 summit, Japan now faces an uncertain path both economically and politically. Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's high-stakes attempt to secure concessions from U.S. President Donald Trump fell short, deepening concerns among automakers. While publicly still pushing for full tariff exemptions, Japan's government now appears to be shifting strategy, possibly focusing on temporary extensions or scaled-back levies in future negotiations. In the meantime, Japanese carmakers may speed up diversification efforts, shifting investment towards Southeast Asia or Europe to mitigate the impact of prolonged U.S. trade tensions. Politically, Ishiba's standing has weakened. The lack of progress undermines confidence in his leadership just weeks before Japan's upper house elections. Analysts warn that if his ruling coalition suffers significant losses, Ishiba could face internal pressure to step down. Attention now turns to the upcoming NATO summit, where Ishiba may have one more chance to restart talks with the U.S. The outcome could determine not only trade policy but the future direction of Japan's political and industrial strategy. In the end, let's take an overview of the details from today's video. A critical brake defect sparked a recall affecting hundreds of thousands of cars, highlighting how safety can't be taken lightly. At the same time, the Japanese automakers are facing huge financial losses, job cuts, and tariff pressures that are shaking up production and strategy worldwide. The industry is at a turning point, balancing safety concerns with fierce competition and rising costs. What do you think? Will the US and Japan settle a deal in future? Will the Japanese auto industry dilemma ever come to an end? Comment below, hit the like and subscribe for more updates. See you in the next video.